Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Gwent, and today we're playing the new Switcheroo seasonal event, which is an alternate game mode in which, after both players take their turns, we will switch hands. That means the cards in your hand need to be worth more to you than they are to your opponent, or you need to be getting extra value out of cards in your deck or your graveyard. Today we'll be taking a look at a deck that you guys told me last time you were having some trouble going against, so I say if you can't beat them, join them. So today we'll be playing what will be a relatively standard Skellige Melusine Rage of the Sea deck, built around Melusine because at the end of our turn she will damage adjacent units by 1, and then increase her base power based on how many units she's damaging. We're going to focus on that aspect more so than the rain that she applies, because although we will have some rain synergizing cards in the rest of our deck, since we will only have our starting hand every other turn, we may not have the chance to maximize those rain synergies. But as long as we significantly increase our base power, then we can bring her back in round 2 or round 3 using Sigrdrifa's Rite, or Ermion to get Sigrdrifa's Rite, or if we happen to have played Sigrdrifa's Rite in round 1, Rite of the Sea, to get Sigrdrifa's Rite to get Melusine, or just Fucusya directly into Melusine. And the reason why that is so effective is because in this event, round 1 tends to go the full length, with both players playing every card in their hand, because if either player passes early, whoever does not pass can continue to play cards from both hands and not have to suffer from card disadvantage. And the longer round 1 is, the more time Melusine has to increase her base power, until she'll be in the high teens or even into the 20s. And because that is base power and not a boost, that means when we bring her back in a future round, she will still have that increased power. And since both players probably played all their cards in round 1, that means round 2 will be extremely short, making it extremely difficult for our opponents to keep pace with a huge Melusine point slam. So that's the big combo, but other than that, as I said, the general idea is to try to get Rain and Storm and deal damage with those and boost some cards in the process, so Fulmar, of course, can do more of that. And Cerys Fearless is a card that will stay in our deck, and then once Melusine damages herself and damages adjacent units enough, Cerys will come out, and then we can use Cerys to heal Melusine for a whole lot of value, and then over-damage a weak unit that we don't really care about. And so in a long round, this is extremely effective, making Melusine plus Cerys your key to success in round 1. Then Royal Decree is another way to either get Melusine or get cards that help you get Melusine back in round 2 or round 3. Likewise with Alzur's Double Cross. And Rioghan will start in our graveyard. Usually with the Skellige Rain deck, he is the key to bring back with your revival cards. However, as I said before, Melusine is actually our top priority, so Rioghan is nice to have if you happen to have enough cards to bring him back in addition to Melusine, but if you have to choose between those two, make sure that you go with Melusine. Then Messenger of the Sea is the key card that gets boosted from that rain. So if you can get them down in round 1, then do so, but it's not the end of the world if you can't. Then Freya's Blessing is a way to get those Messengers of the Sea back in a subsequent round, which also probably isn't necessary as long as you get Melusine back, but it's a plan B. Then the Cultist, another one of the rain synergizing cards if we can get it out there, but it's not a huge deal if we can't. And the Havfrue Singer is another good card in round 1 when you have Melusine out there and you're dealing a bunch of damage to herself and neighboring cards. Havfrue Singer can heal those cards and spawn in some weak Deafening Sirens, which are good targets to damage with Cerys Fearless. Then Tears of Siren for more rain and other alchemy cards just in case you did not play Sigrdrifa's Rite and you happen to have Rite of the Sea. Svalblod Cultist can either damage or heal Melusine, which can help you get Cerys out more quickly. And the Warcrier, assuming that our opponent has damaged units, can get boosted fairly easily as well. And the Armored Drakkar is another target for self-damage. So there's a look at the deck, and like I said, in terms of the cards, it is very similar to what you usually see with a Melusine Skellige Rain deck. However, the strategy is different, because rather than prioritizing getting as many weather effects and as many boosts from those weather effects as possible, instead we want to maximize increasing Melusine's base power, and then making sure that we bring her back in round 2 or round 3 for a ton of carryover in a short round that our opponent is going to find almost impossible to keep up with. So let's go see it in action. Alright, so going up against monsters here, and we'll go first. Okay, so we have Melusine, and we will definitely want to play her immediately in round 1. However, we want to try to save Fucusya and or Sigrdrifa's Rite so that we can get Melusine back in round 2 or round 3. So let's get rid of them. And Ermion might be another way to get Sigrdrifa's Rite. Okay, Royal Decree is also a potential way to get Fucusya in round 2 or round 3. So let's dump this. And let us begin with Melusine. Alright, so they'll use their leader ability here, combined with the Bloody Mistress. Okay, interesting. So yeah, it does look a lot like a Thrive deck. And interestingly enough, Yrden would be incredibly powerful against them. Not so powerful against us, at least not against Melusine, because she's going to get her base power increased, and she's actually going to damage herself. We could, if we're feeling really memey, deliberately consume Melusine with the Raucous Queen to create another Melusine. I'm not really sure we want to do that, but it is theoretically an option. Why don't we start off with the Necker, though? Especially because, well, we could even just immediately sacrifice them if we'd like to, by putting them on either side of Melusine. I think we'll refrain from doing that for now, at least. Definitely some interesting options here. They'll go with Melusine Cultist, and they probably will try to activate those in our melee row to take out the Neckers. So let's make sure that we get at least one Messenger of the Sea out here. We'll put it next to Melusine. It's not a cultist, so if we use Melusine's order ability here, then that means that we'll not be able to use her order ability on our next turn, but we'll play a cultist there soon. We only have one in our hand right now, but of course we still have Curse Scroll, so we can get one later on if we need to. Alright, there is the rain on our melee row, as expected. And Bleeding Effigy. Did we had something in our graveyard for them to use? Oh, right, they did it on Rioghan. Okay, now that is unfortunate. He would have been nice to have, but he's not strictly necessary, so we'll be okay. Now let's go with a Griffin here, and yeah, sure, we'll get rid of one of the Neckers. Not a huge deal, of course. We would have liked to have had more engines with both Neckers going, but we're primarily just focusing on creating the long-term potential with Melusine. Now, that was our only cultist in our hands, so we're definitely going to want to use our Curse Scroll either on this turn or our next turn. They did reach Sabbath, so that means that now they have other Gernichora's fruits over here, and that is going to power up Gernichora. So I think what we do here is, yes, we use Curse Scroll to get Fulmar, and then we'll put Ermion back into our deck because we can get Sigrdrifa's Rite with him later on, which might be a way to get Melusine in the future. But now we go Fulmar. That'll give us a cultist next to Melusine, as we would like to do. And we'll put the rain on this row in hopes of taking out some of these Gernichora fruits. And we sniped two of them. Okay, we got pretty lucky there, admittedly. And then it's a Raucous Queen. We had a meme option to use her. We opted not to, at least we didn't prioritize it, but it does mean now that they are going to look to consume some of their cards. Wouldn't be the worst idea to reset their melee row, because Yrden is certainly a powerful card. It's not very helpful for them. They could use it on our range row to reset Messenger of the Sea, but they would boost Melusine and boost Fulmar in the process, so they might not be too keen to rush to this, but we want to make sure we're the ones that play it, not them. Let's sneak in an Endrigo Warrior first. And then next time we have this hand, we'll definitely want to use Yrden, I think. Now let's go more rain. And ideally we'd wait one more turn before converting it into Storm with Fulmar. Okay, it's Tears of Siren. So that'll give them some rain. That's probably not the row they wanted to do it on. I mean, yes, they could reset our melee row if they were to use Yrden, but that's not that big of a play. So Messenger of the Sea is definitely our best option here. Just a matter of anticipating the Yrden. Do we think we put it in the melee or range row? I think we might want to go range. Now let's go a little more on the rain, and now if we convert that with Fulmar, that means we have 4 turns worth of storm, and they have 4 turns left, so that works well. And it should give these Messengers of the Sea a very big boost. They're just going to pass. They think they don't stand a chance here in this round, out of curiosity. Cerys, no! Don't come out now! Can you please just wait until round 2? Because, well, they're going to hand us the win here. Unfortunately, Cerys will come out in round 1 when we no longer need her. And actually, you could have made the case for deliberately continuing to play in round 1 when they had already passed, because you will continue to exchange hands, which means you really can't get card disadvantage in that way, and it would have given us more time to get Melusine's base power increased. But anyways, let's switch some things around here. I think we definitely want to keep Earden. Let's get rid of the Intriguing Warrior, I think, and the Arcaspore. We're looking for a way to get Melusine out from our graveyard, and we don't really have one at the moment. Because right now, Alzur's Double Cross would get us the Svalblod Cultist, and that doesn't really help us all that much. So in that case, let's try to set up the Armored Drakkar plus Svalblod Cultist, I think, might be our best combo. And then we might have some cards to heal with the Havfrue Singer in that case. So we'll start with this. But this is definitely not one of our stronger round 2 hands. Okay, they'll go with the Arcaspore. And of course, we hid the other one in our deck. Okay, so they have a few engines here with the Witch Apprentice and the Craite Warcrier, though we need to have a damage unit to do this. If we were to use our leader ability, we could make it happen. But I'm thinking we might actually be playing for round 3 here, in which case we'd perhaps like to save those leader ability charges. So let's play the Witch Apprentice in many ways just to deny them the opportunity to do so. Okay, they will go Alzur's Double Cross. For them, that means Pugo. Okay, so now if we put the Svalblod Cultist next to the Armored Drakkar, we have a way of getting this boosted up. Let's put you here. And the fact that they were able to get Pugo, and all they had to do was sacrifice a Gernichoverload fruit, which they can get back here, means they are probably looking better in round 2 than we are. But as I was saying, I think the plan is probably to go for the round 3 win in this case. And now we can go with you next to a Relict to increase your base power a bit. And basically what we're doing at this stage is just playing all the cards in our hand, and in doing so, making round 3 very short, so that when we eventually, hopefully, do get away to play Melusine from our graveyard, they won't be able to keep pace with that. And then it's Griffin. Ooh. That may have been a mistake for them. Well, I suppose they can make another Fruits of Yizgith Gernichoverload fruit. That was their lowest unit. So if we had Predatory Dive right now, it would be a great time to use it, but it's in their hand right now. So we could use Freya's Blessing to get a Messenger of the Sea out from our graveyard. I would kind of like to not do that, because it will give them Doomed, so we won't be able to do that in a future round, and we'd like to save these guys for round 3. So I think that means we might just be playing a not-so-helpful Havfrue Singer, because we don't have anything to heal. So, congratulations. It is, however, just enough for us to reach Sabbath, so now the Witch Apprentice will get boosted, and that means that surely the next time they get this hand, they'll use Earden. Okay, this is probably going to be Predatory Dive. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so that means our last card is the Craite Warcrier. It is enough for us to get back over to Sabbath. It would not get boosted unless we use the leader ability charge, but as I was saying, I think the plan is still wait for round 3. So I don't think we ought to do that. And I'm definitely expecting them to Earden this row, though technically they could win with just about anything here. Okay, it is Irden. So they'll win round 2 in that case. Okay, so the key here is to get either Sigrdrifa's Rite to get Melusine back, Fucusya to get Melusine back, Royal Decree to get Fucusya, or Ermion to play Sigrdrifa's Rite to get Melusine back. So we have 4 target cards here, and we don't have any of them at the moment. Okay, there we go. We got Sigrdrifa's Rite. We are definitely leading off with that. Okay, they'll go with the Cave Troll. Not entirely sure what they're looking to set up with that. But yes, we need to use Sigrdrifa's Rite because we need to make sure that we get Melusine. So let's use it now. And Melusine is a 17, which is a lot, especially in a short round. But that's why I was saying earlier that perhaps playing a little bit longer in round 1 may have been beneficial just to further increase Melusine's base power and make it even more likely that getting her back in a future round would be an automatic win. Because it is going to be effective for sure. But perhaps not quite as effective as we might have liked. So let's see what they left us with. They left us with a Beast, which is going to get pretty highly boosted. Witch's Apprentice, we are almost at Sabbath if we put this in the same row as Melusine, so that's certainly an option as well. And Freya's Blessing could be a way to get a Messenger of the Sea back. That's why I didn't play this in the previous round. So some strong options here. Melusine Cultist was probably our best card from the hand that we just had. But, I mean, take your pick here. All of these work well. We aren't quite at Sabbath for Witch Apprentice, so I think we probably don't go that route. And then, assuming that we are going to use Melusine's Rain abilities, maybe going Freya's Blessing into a Messenger of the Sea would be best. Although, since they have some units with armor, we're actually not going to deal quite as much damage with the Rain, so I think that the Beast is the best option here, to tell you the truth. And since there aren't that many turns remaining, I suppose we'll use the Rain nonetheless. Suppose probably should put the second one on this row anyway, but... So we'll get a Havfrue Singer out here. We'll use Melusine's ability to damage her, and then we'll heal her with the Havfrue Singer, and that'll get out a Deafening Siren, so that'll be our final play. There's Witch Apprentice. They do not have Sabbath, notably. So now we go and, I mean... Don't think they're actually going to get another turn. We'll put Rain on this row just in case, but yes, it deals 2 damage to Melusine, but that's no problem, because we'll heal that off right now. And get in a Deafening Siren as well. And with that huge Melusine carryover, we will take the win. Alright, so going up against Northern Realms here. And they'll go first. Okay, so we have Melusine in hand. That means we're definitely going to want to play her on our first turn. We also have Alzur's Double Cross, which would be another way to get Melusine. Alternatively, it also has a chance to give us Fulmar, which might be worth relying on, because if we leave Fulmar in hand, our opponent is probably going to play him. And then Sigrdrifa's Rite is also quite good, along with Bride of the Sea, so maybe we put Bride of the Sea back into our deck, and we hope to get her in a future round, rather than having our opponent take one of those cards from us. And they'll go with Erland on turn 1. Very strong card in this event, but probably not the time to play him. I suppose he might have gotten stuck in their hand, and they were fearful that we would play him. So let's go with our big card, Melusine. Okay, and I think I know what we're seeing here. This is probably an Erland plus Archgriffin deck. They'll go Alzur's Double Cross. That might get it out. No, it's going to be Eskel Pathfinder. Okay, so was perhaps the card that we were most looking to play on our next turn. So a shame that they played it. Tell you what, yeah, they look like more of a Witcher's deck than a Archgriffin deck. It's tempting to go with Amphibious Assault just to deny them that play, even though it does nothing for us, but we'll go Griffin Witcher here. And Melusine, well, to tell you the truth, may not do that much for us yet. Okay, they are going Amphibious Assault. As I said, there's certainly the case to be made that we ought to have played that. And so now what we do is we play the Svalblod Cultist and deliberately put it next to Melusine, where she's going to damage Melusine, and in doing so, get out Cerys more quickly. But let's use the Griffin Witcher Ranger damage here. Okay, they'll go with Tears of Siren. And they're going to try to take out, and they do take out, our Griffin Witcher. Though if we really wanted to, we could go with Siren here. And just get another one. So let's go for that. It's not necessarily the best card in the world next to Melusine, because Melusine, of course, is going to damage it, so it's not going to last all that long. But it does give us more fuel to increase Melusine's base power. Okay, then they'll go with the Griffin Witcher Adept. And now Cerys only has 2 charges remaining, which means she is going to come out on this turn. So let's deal damage with Melusine. And as well with Griffin Witcher. Then play the Havfrue Singer. And then boost Cerys. Because now here she comes. Okay, they'll go with a Messenger of the Sea. That was probably the card we would have liked to have played next. And now what we can do is we can go target practice here on the Griffin Witcher, giving it a boost and giving us a Witcher student. Then deal some more damage, increase the duration of the rain, or alternatively just put the rain on their range road, start dealing damage there. Either one, really. And most importantly, heal Melusine and damage the Witcher student. Here's Vesemir. That will give them a sizable boost. Now we need another cultist next to Melusine, so let's put the Havfrue Singer there. And I suppose we can heal the Griffin Witcher. We actually have more healing than we need on this turn. Then we'll deal damage to, I suppose, well, really just about anybody. They'll pass, which is, well, a huge mistake in this event. Because now we can play all the cards that we want, because we will continue to switch hands with our opponent. So never do that in the Switcheroo event unless you have an absolutely ginormous lead. So let's go with Eskel, just to ruin their Witcher trio. Then we'll deal some extra damage, and we'll heal, and damage, and create more Sirens along the way. And here you see, this is the thing. We will continue to switch hands. So now we can put the Armored Drakkar here, where we want it to get damage, so that's great. And now, once again, heal and damage. Spawn in the Sirens. And once we're done with that, we do now have the lead. And notably, we did not even need to play Sigrdrifa's Rite, which is in their hand right now, but that would be a way to get Melusine back in a future round and get a 21, soon to be 23, point unit on the board in a short round, which is huge. And now, of course, we'll get that hand back. Oh man, and then we get an amazing hand for round 2, so we are absolutely pushing here. Because we have 2 different ways to get Melusine back, and Fulmar is also amazing. Question is just, our opponent is going to play at least one of these cards. They did not play very many of our Skellige units, so I'm actually feeling okay about this. What if we put Sigrdrifa's... Never mind. I was going to say, what if we put Sigrdrifa's Rite back into our deck and get it with Ermion instead? But Ermion is basically just a dead card for them at this point. Yeah, in fact, Messenger of the Sea is the only Skellige card that they have in their graveyard right now. So it means they do have something to do with either Fucusya, Sigrdrifa's Rite, or Freya's Blessing. As much as I would love to wait to play Fucusya, I think we probably do need to go that route, otherwise this is going to be the one they use. Let's get Melusine out. And they will forfeit, because 23 points of carryover is hard to match. Alright, so going up against Nilfgaard here, and they'll go first. Okay, so we have Melusine in our hand. That means we're definitely going to want to play her on our first turn. We also have Cerys in our hand. We want to keep her in our deck. Then we do have several cards that we would like to ideally save for round 2 or round 3 to help get Melusine back. Notably, Sigrdrifa's Rite and Bride of the Sea and Ermion to help get those cards. So let's at least put one of them back here. Okay, they'll start with the Squirrel, which is unfortunate, because that does get rid of Rioghan. Although, for the most part, he's a luxury, not a necessity, because Melusine is the key card we're going to want to get back in future rounds. Though if they have more Squirrels and more Graveyard Banishment, that could become a problem. So we've got to start with her, because otherwise our opponent might play our most important card. Okay, and looking at their hand here, it's a little bit concerning. Whole lot of Purification, and then they have their Locking Leader ability, so gotta imagine that's what they're planning to do against Melusine here. And, of course, we do see another Squirrel. So this does look a bit like a counter deck, to tell you the truth. And I think what we want to do is we're expecting for them on their next turn to use Pellar to purify Melusine and then lock it with Imprisonment. So we can either play Pellar and force them to go with Spring Equinox, which is weaker, or let them do that and then rely on Mahakamail to unlock Melusine. But tell you what if we just sneak in a little bit of a boost with Pact? And let's wait before we use Melusine's Order ability here. Okay, it will be the Purification, followed by the Leader ability lock, I imagine. No! Interesting. Giving us a little bit of time to use Melusine. Alright, well we saw their hand has almost no point value in it at all. It is entirely control. So in that case, let's just make sure that we get down a Messenger of the Sea. We'll put it next to Melusine to help increase our base power. And we will, definitely, apply some rain here. Okay, they're going Royal Decree. Oh, they're giving her Doomed. Okay, I see. Well, in that case, obviously we need to purify Melusine. Otherwise, if she gets destroyed when she has Doom, she's just going to disappear, and that's no good. So it's worth 0 points, which is the unfortunate part. We were expecting them to do something along those lines to try to shut down Melusine, and they may still try to lock her later. Okay, now it's Mahakamail. So now they're setting up for the lock on Melusine. So they're trying to get rid of all their lock removal so that we can't use it. But now let's go with the Svalblod Cultist here. That way we do have a Cultist next to Melusine, so that we can get her order back up and running. Okay, there it is. That's the Leader ability charge. Combined with, okay, the Warcrier. We do have a damage unit right now, but now we use Mahakamail to remove that lock and apply some more rain. Okay, now they're going to reset our Messenger of the Sea. I mean, it was boosted by 2 points, so that's not a huge deal. And, oh, they're going to lock her, really. I'm a little surprised. So they're giving up on Melusine in that case. But tell you what, if we're patient, we may be able to get her back. So let's go with the Armored Drakkar here. I'm actually deliberately not going to play next to Melusine on this turn, because I do want Melusine to destroy the Messenger of the Sea, and then next time we have this hand, we can either use Sigrdrifa's Rite to get the Messenger of the Sea back, or we can use Ermion into a Freya's Blessing. Either way, though, let's make some more rain happen, because that will get Cerys out. And I'm deliberately not going to heal the Messenger of the Sea. Okay, then it's their Armored Drakkar, which, in the ranged row where it might get hit by the rain, is smart, although it's not going to be enough damage to actually trigger its ability. Okay, and if we don't play the Squirrel on this turn, then they could use it on their next turn to banish Messenger of the Sea, and we'd like to be able to play that, so I think that means we are looking to play the Squirrel here and now. And it's not really a huge deal what we banish here. Now let's do more damage with the rain, and then heal Melusine and damage the Drakkar. Alright, they're gonna pass. So, the interesting thing about passing early in this event is we will continue to switch hands. So that means if we wanted to, we could continue to play cards here and not actually go cards down. However, Ermion and Sigrdrifa's Rite are some of our best cards, so it'd be kinda nice if we could save those for a future round. Unfortunately, if we do pass now, those cards are gonna go to our opponent at the beginning of round 2, which means they could very well play one before we get the chance to use it ourselves, but I think that's a risk we're gonna have to take. So we'll win round 1. And now our top priority is going to be to get Fucusya. That way we can make sure that we get Melusine back for the huge carryover, because Melusine is 19 points. So let's see if we can switch some things around to help make that happen. Namely, getting rid of maybe Spores. Fulmar is nice. That would have been what we'd get with Alzur's Double Cross. Now it's going to be Svalblod Cultist. So maybe we dump that. Okay, so no Fucusya. That is unfortunate because that means we are relying on what is hopefully Sigrdrifa's Rite right there, although if they're smart, they would have gotten rid of that. So we may be just relying on our Rain and Storm to win this round in that case. So normally you would start up with the Melusine Cultist and then use Fulmar to convert that Rain into Storm. However, if we leave Fulmar for them, then they are almost certainly going to play him, so I think we probably do need to play him here. And this is the tough part is, I mean, can't really make a good decision there in terms of which row to put the rain on because they're just going to play their units in the other row. Okay, it's Ermion is the one that they kept, so it was not Sigrdrifa's Rite. They'll get Sigrdrifa's Rite from their deck. They put it back in order to get the Armored Drakkar. Yeah. And the rest of their hand is just atrociously awful, kind of like what we saw in round 1. So this is pretty much as close as it gets to a counter deck. The only real combo that we have here is the Iron Falcon Infantry, if we can give it some armor with the wagon. So I guess we go with the Iron Falcon Infantry first, and then next time we get this hand, we can get Zeal with the wagon to set this up. So, sure, we'll give it a try. And then we could convert Rain into Storm, but we definitely don't want to do that against the Armored Drakkar, and we can use our leader ability on a future occasion to set up whatever row they put more units in later on. Okay, it's Melusine Cultist. And the Havfrue Singer doesn't do anything at the moment because there's no one to heal. But if they do use the Rain from the Melusine Cultist, then that gives us a target. But until then, Oxenford Scholar is actually a little bit better. So why don't we go this route here? Okay, they'll go with the wagon. Yeah, they're denying us the combo that they were trying to set up. Would have been the card that we would have played next. Okay, there is the Rain. So it does mean that once we get this hand back, those Havfrue Singers will be helpful. And at this stage, Megascope does basically nothing. So we'll just go Peasant Militia. And make sure that we do not boost the Oxenford Scholar. We want to keep that damage. So, take your pick. And at this stage, we would kind of like to use Rage of the Sea soon, so we have enough time to deal damage with it, but remember, they have 2 Havfrue Singers in their hand right now, so we don't want to set those up by damaging one of these cards. There's the Havfrue Singer. And now we can play our Havfrue Singer to heal this Oxenford Scholar and spawn in this Deafening Siren. And that should be more than enough, and they know it, so they forfeit. Even against a counter deck, we still take the win. So there's a look at a Skellige Rain Melusine deck for the new Switcheroo seasonal event. If you like the video, then make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and leave a comment down below to let me know which other cards, archetypes, and factions you'd like us to experiment with next. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.